All right.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
All right,
Good luck.
bye, fellas.
Okay, well, after that wonderful showing from Tyler and D-Limes, hi, I'm Plywood, and with me is...
Joseph Joestar, 316.
And he runs this game, and I don't, but don't be worried. Even though I haven't played this game in 10 years, I have a list of notes provided to me from the wonderful Sergeant Silent. So I will not be talking out of my you-know-what. I will actually have some information for all of you as we go into this Metal Gear Solid 4.
It's okay, it's just a movie.
New Game Plus run. How are you doing, Joe?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm just back in town, ready to catch some more speed runs, especially like you just said, a neck and neck race of T-Line and D-Limes of Tyler. Well done to both of them. But now it looks like we're about to get started with some Metal Gear Solid 4, Guns of the Patriots.
That's right. So, right off the bat, you may be wondering why they're using a save. That's so we can also go New Game Plus and to skip the interactive commercials at the start. So, or should I say non-interactive? So we're going straight into the Middle East, Act 1. Now, it should be noted that there probably is going to be some major strat variation between the two runners because historically, Sergeant has been a New Game Plus runner and Sparty has been a New Game runner. So it's going to be pretty neat to see what kind of approaches these two gentlemen are going to be taking.
And I kind of fallen in the middle where I'm a multi-segment New Game Plus runner. But it's there are some similarities between running this single versus running it multi as opposed to New Game and New Game Plus. But particularly with New Game Plus, like you just said, it bypasses the 2.5 minutes of watching commercials, which is why it's best to just start off with this save rather than bore everybody with the commercials.
Yeah, we like the commercials, but not on repeat over and over again. So that ends the little intro before Act 1, and we're going to go straight into the first act. And now coming up is an area called Red Zone, which if you run the Boss Extreme or watch the Boss Extreme, you know that it is a infamous, absolutely infamous area, but it's not quite as bad on this difficulty.
Okay, so as you can see, Sparty went for a gunshot at the start to create this caution. On normal runs, like on TBE, you would opt for knocking over a pot, which both do the same thing, but the gunshot is slightly faster, which leads up to sticking up that guard, as you just saw from Sparty. It's just a quick way to bypass a cutscene with the APC and just makes things faster. But it looks like Silent now just got caught trying to now get out. So it looks like he's going to have a rough go trying to get out of here, but it seems like he might be able to make it. And now Sparty also just being caught past the first zone here, which may have been intentional, but given that it's just a big boss hard and not necessarily a big boss run for TBE, you know, it's okay to get spotted at certain times.
Yeah, if you're going for Foxhound rank on Big Boss Hard, you're actually afforded 2 alerts. So you actually can't afford that. Now, you may be noticing that they weren't running around with the AK-102, and that's because you actually run slower if you have that two-handed weapon out. So they run around with that.
Yeah, you'll often notice. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're good.
Like you'll often notice that they'll run with either a knife or a pistol because, like Plywood was just saying, running with a two-handed weapon like an AK, a shotgun, or grenade launcher, or a sniper, anything two-handed is going to slow your movement down significantly over the course of the run, as opposed to being unarmed or most likely with a pistol.
And so we're going to be seeing the big boss mask, the true terror of his face makes everyone cower in fear. And this is a very key element of New Game Plus runs. You can only get this mask if you get the Big Boss emblem on the Boss Extreme, but it's a very useful item indeed. Everyone just gets terrified, and it makes your lines a lot smoother, a lot easier.
Yeah, very similar to what you just seen in MGS3 earlier with the Patriot. The Big Boss Mask changes the way you play the game significantly, as opposed to something a new game where it changes your strategy, how to approach a room entirely. Whereas with equipping the Big Boss Mask, as you can just see, they're just running on through without a care in the world. As it terrifies anyone nearby that sees you, and you go through, most likely not being spotted.
And similarly to other games, you'll be seeing the runners roll into load zones. There's some neat little overlap between the various games, and that is one of them. Now, it should be noted that a lot of people get a little bit scared from New Game Plus running because of the Big Boss mask. And yeah, it is a bit challenging to get that Big Boss emblem, but you got to remember that MGS4 was designed around Big Boss emblem being achieved with multi segment. You can literally save on every room in the game. So once you get past a couple of the little tricky areas, it's not too bad as I understand it.
As you just noticed just now with Sparty, like as he rolls into that little mini cutscene of part of that ceiling collapse, is the reason why they do that is to bypass not really the cutscene itself, but normally when you approach it, it triggers that event where Snake is kind of stunned. He can't really move, but if you roll at a precise moment before that cutscene triggers, it allows you to kind of keep crab walking so that as that cutscene ends, you just move right away rather than being paused.
And
And
how
like play
much
with
would you
just
say that saves, Joseph? Like a few seconds?
if you get it perfectly on your first try, it probably saves you like maybe 2 to 3 seconds. And it seems like they both got it on the first go around, because, like you say, it can save you that little difference.
And the little bit of differences can make a huge mark, especially in a race environment. Those little variations can help a lot.
And like you were just saying earlier about the big boss category in this game itself, I generally find this game, despite the contrary, yeah, it's majority interactive movie with some gameplay, but the requirements for big boss are a lot more friendlier than you would expect in terms of games like MGS1, MGS2, or Foxhound, which would be the equivalent to something like MGS3, where in this game, you're granted the liberty to save as much as you want over the course of what I believe is 5 hours and under, which, in my opinion, is very generous.
Very giving, yeah. I think the flip side of that is that they really like they don't really intend on you doing single segment for any of the games in the series, but they really didn't want you doing single segment Big Boss in this game. So
No, no,
neat
no.
little strat here, firing to knock out those mines uh, over on Sparty's screen, just to get them out of the way.
Yeah, it just saves you the convenience of just not having to run by them. You don't have to use an assault rifle, your pistol. You get a very wide splash damage range of your grenade launcher, which throughout this course of this run, you're not going to really using lethal rounds on other things other than mines like that. Okay, so it looks like Sparty has now just gotten to what's going to be the Frog Gauntlet coming up after, regrouping with Meryl's team.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of this area, Advent Palace. This is a really interesting part of the run, because we have to deal with the Rat Patrol. So
Mm-hmm.
we have Ed, Jonathan, and Johnny. Of course, there's two Johns on the team, and how they operate really does make a difference in terms of the pace of this area. So you might be seeing Sparty and Sergeant interact with them, punch them, just to speed them up as we move on.
And here you could see again the benefit of having the big boss mask, which as you get close to a frog, they just pass out. They can't stand the horrific sight of the big boss mask.
Yep, as I was saying right there, you see Sparty shooting Jonathan. It's the guy with the exclamation mark haircut, shooting him again to manipulate their speed.
Yeah, because as you'll notice throughout this this palace, the encounters are mostly proximity based, where as you get closer, enemies come in, or if Meryl's team is in a certain spot, enemies will kind of fall in, and if you delay that just by just a moment, it allows you as the player to get in to set up. Which, as you saw at the beginning, he plants a sleep gas satchel at the base of the stairs, which is to stop incoming frogs from coming from behind. And as you'll see, he'll plant another one very soon, which is, again, for frogs that will come in.
Yeah, you know, when you play this casually, it definitely feels a bit overwhelming, especially when you get into the palace proper, but that manipulation of your AI teammates really does give you that room to work around the encounter itself.
Yeah, you'll also be seeing some significant usage of the MGL140, or just grenade launcher, as I call it. You often use it with stuns. It gives you that quick knockout from a distance, saves you the trouble of trying to snipe or pistol them. And once again, you're just seeing more usage of the sleep gas satchel, which is by far one of the most convenient items you can have throughout either New Game, but especially with New Game Plus. And you can also see he's doing more manipulation with Johnny, which engages what normally would be a little funny cutscene of him trying to hold it in, if you get what I'm meaning. You know, because Johnny and his stomach kind of don't agree with each other at times. But by doing that little manipulation, it triggers that event early, so it prevents Meryl's unit from being held up in that corner, and it advances them in the encounter faster.
It's worthwhile noting as well with the frogs, you can't actually damage them while they're in the air. You need to have them either planted on a wall or walking around. So if you ever see them kind of just waiting for the frogs to stop jumping, that's why.
Yeah, because like even though you can shoot them leading up to it, but during that animation jump, there's iframes to consider. You know, so a lot of times, like Plywood just said, you're often seeing them wait for them to either line up for a shot or line up for a big boss mask usage.
I would just like the idea of like Old Snake throwing the big boss mask at all of them, like bam, and then they just it's like a projectile and they just get terrified.
Just throw it in a room and clear it.
It's like a grenade.
Yeah.
They just see the mask on the ground, they're like, oh my god! No! What's with your face? So this is a little unskippable cutscene of Johnny clearing the lasers.
Yeah, as much manipulation as you could try to do, this is just one of those cutscenes you just have to sit through. But at the very least, you can optimize what it will take to get up there. So here he's just doing more manipulation with Johnny, or Jonathan this time.
It's so confusing, isn't it?
It really is. It's like you got a Johnny and a Jonathan. I mean, hell, I've been running this game for years and I still can't even get it right.
Poop Boy and Bold Boy.
Yeah, there you go.
Also, I don't know if anyone's ever said this, but the satchels, they kind of look like dishes when he's just like holding them.
They really do.
They look like he's got like a little dinner dish. Man, Meryl does not care about those darts.
Yeah, I don't know if he was just kind of buying for time or if he's just kind of sending her a little love tap there.
The good thing the Rat Patrol doesn't care about the mask, though. That would be a bit of a problem.
Mm-hmm.
So a nice little thing about this game, since codec, we're seeing a whole different lot of codecs and radios throughout this whole relay race. In MGS1, you gotta mash through them. In MGS2, you gotta do a double tap. Same in Twin Snakes. MGS3, you have to hold a button down. This game, just press a button once and then it's done. Which is that's a nice little thing. You don't really have to worry too much.
Yeah, it's simplified over the course of the series. Yeah, because I'll tell you what, I mean, mashing those codecs in MGS1 is it's a challenge, especially if you're not used to it like me.
Yeah, that is a skill that is annoying to have to deal with. But in certain games in the series, it is not a big deal, including MGS4.
Oh, I was just kind of admiring Silence somewhat manipulation of Johnny, or if he was just doing that for fun, just hitting him at the doorway there. Because again, he doesn't care as much as the unit does either. Okay, so now it looks like Sparty's doing a smoke lineup here, where he's covering a group of soldiers on the left, which just briefly saw him, but passed up due to the big boss mask, and you can see him doing it again. Because the beauty of the mask is, like I said, they may see you from a distance, but as you get closer to them, it just puts them out of the fight just like that. You know, screaming
it's kind
in
of like
terror.
they see the figure in the distance, but once the smoke clears and the fog of war is over, they get terrified, and that's it. So
yeah, there's actually one thing I'd like to add about smoke grenades in this game over the course of other games, which I think this was the game that started, or actually, no, I'm sorry, MGS3 started off with smokes, but smokes in this game in particular are very, very good. They do a lot for you, aside from what would be the obvious during like a casual run, but aside from blocking line of sight, it interrupts them for quite a long time, and not only that, but you can stack it, meaning you could throw one smoke, they cough for 3 to 4 times while not seeing you, and you can approach them while they're doing that, but you can throw another smoke on top of it to extend it even further. Whereas in games like MGS3, the coughing animation is brief, but you're mostly using it for line of sight manipulation, not necessarily to, you know, keep them out of the area, so to speak. But in this game, it does both very well. All right, so it looks like Sparty's just about to get out of Act 1.
Yep, going through that Millennium Park area. I liked his, he used a neat little trick by hitting a guard with a trank dart, causing him to turn around, and then see the mask, causing him to knock out. Very cool little AI manipulation with the shot.
Let's see, so he's got
And
a 1734 for Act 1. You
not
know,
bad.
yeah,
Well, at least I think it's not bad.
I mean,
Don't
it
ask
looks...
me.
No, I mean, it looked pretty smooth. I mean, just given, yeah, it's a new game plus. He's using Big Boss Mask to his fullest extent. You know, it's pretty good so far. I haven't really seen any major mistakes, and well, mainly nobody has died yet. But the nice thing about this game, as well, as you can see, Silent has rations equipped, which in categories like Big Boss, you're not allowed to use recovery. But given that they're both doing, you know, Big Boss Hard New Game Plus, you know, really anything goes. You know, rations are pretty helpful and plentiful, unlike other games like MGS2, where you know, on extreme, I think you maybe get like 1 or 2 throughout the entire game, and oh boy. Okay, I wonder if Silent's gonna get out of this. Okay, he's got past the worst part of it.
There's like 8 guys staring him down.
Yeah, he's got quite the welcome committee to get out. But the nice thing about the mask, again, is that although, yes, it's terrifying, but the range of effectiveness is, in my opinion, it's pretty generous. You know, it's not like you have to be within CQC range for it to work, but you just have to be within maybe like CQC and a half of, you know, grabbing range.
Okay, we're going into the first room of Act 2, and this is a really tough room, Cove Valley. You see Sparty throwing a smoke grenade to distract those guys and then just run along the path. Looks pretty good.
Yeah, and it looks like Silent just finished. He was at 1804, so he's roughly about 30 seconds, give or take, behind Sparty. And again, you're seeing the excellent use of smoke grenades to create the opening for him to get through. And they're still screaming in terror. The one thing you get used to quite a bit if you use the Big Boss Mask. Okay, so coming up here is an area that, on a casual basis, is not fun to play. Is often what I refer to in my runs as the steps of hell, meaning that it's a lot of steps to climb, but the big thing is that you're more likely to get spotted here than anywhere else in Act 2, simply because you go up one step, you get spotted. You go up another step, you get spotted by someone else. But the beauty of New Game Plus is that you can get spotted as much as you want, and the big boss mask will more or less kind of pave the way for you to get through without losing your mind.
That's a great little screenshot of Roy Campbell right there, staring at the ground.
It's like, yep, I'm looking at something here.
No, I'm looking at not you because you're terrifying.
So I'm thinking from here on out, it's just gonna be just a casual stroll through the, the forest here, just to get to the power station, which is another big significant part of Act 2, which rather on a casual versus a speedrun basis, it's a pretty significant area to optimize. And it looks like Silent is just about to start off his entryway into the village.
Yeah, he's doing it a little bit different here. I think he's going to be taking the more loud approach.
Oh,
so operator. No, I think he just equipped that to speed himself up, and then just run through the crew.
Yeah, so it looks like to me he was equipping his items, which again you'll see quite a bit throughout the run, is that they really try to optimize everything they do, including what items they carry and when they carry them. And it looks like they will equip what they need for not only what's ahead, but for the rest of the act. So it looks like he's equipping the railgun and the 50 cal for quite possibly things coming up later in the run, aside from what you're seeing. And it looks like Sparty is now just getting through the power station, which, thanks to the magical powers of the big boss mask, you just run through that war zone and no one misses you.
Question, how does this run work? Big boss mask? Answer, yes.
Yep, that's it. You just equip the big boss mask and you just get your best running shoes and just stroll on through. I mean, hopefully not dying.
A few times, you get a little out of breath. I gotta say, the big boss mask is probably the most overpowered New Game Plus item in the entire series.
I would also agree, in addition to, which I don't know if they're going to be using it anytime soon given the conditions of the run, but the solar gun is also a very powerful non-lethal weapon which takes out most enemies in one full charge shot, with the exception of a few bosses, a few certain types of enemies. And you also notice here that the stress meter is usually something in a casual one that you want to keep down, because when your stress meter goes up above 50, the stamina meter starts to decline, which below 50% will affect your aim as well as your rate of recovery for HP when you need it. But again, since it's New Game Plus, you have the syringe already in hand from your run before, so when that stress meter goes up, pop the syringe, it gives you to full stamina for its usage, and you can stack this as long as you need to, which it looks like they're going to be using this quite a few times throughout Act 2, and possibly later throughout the run here.
The other reason why the solar gun is so overpowered is that it brings a light to the big boss mask, and that makes people more scared.
Mm-hmm.
More
it's like, yeah, you know what's coming. I mean, if it's not the sunlight cry of charging the gun, I mean, you know it's coming. All right,
nice
so
headshot from Sparty there on that guard. Very key to get those nice shots, and vaulting over the little barrier there. Get that nice line, not having to run around. As we go into the mansion, another big fight scene as far as the act is concerned. If I'm thinking of the right area, at least.
Yeah, the Vista Mansion has quite a few approaches to it, which, given Sparty is now just starting to do his, it looks like he triggered a early caution, which creates that misdirect, for a guard to look at him, for that big boss mask. And as you can see, now he just triggered the mini event of the bulldozer to come in and open up the gate. So at this point, he's just going to pop another syringe, because as you notice, without that syringe at 80% stress, that stamina meter is going to drain. until you either get it below or you just pop another syringe.
Now, worthwhile mentioning that Sergeant at this point only has one ration left. I don't know if there are easy rations to pick up throughout the route, but he has pretty low health, so
Yeah, I think he had well, given that he did his Act 2 intro a little differently from Sparty's, which gave him less of a, I guess, aggressive entrance, which gave him less opportunity to get hit. Whereas Sparty or where Silent went in for the the loud and proud approach, which, as you notice, you do have to get close. But up to that, I mean, yeah, you're gonna take quite a few hits, and there may be some rations as backups that both of these guys are aware of where to pick them up. But you do want to try to avoid getting them if you must. You know, because sometimes your backup goes out of your way just to keep your run alive. All right, but it looks like Sparty made it through the mansion relatively in one piece. His rations are still intact. His stress meter is now going down. And Silent is having quite a bit of a ways to get through. All right, now he's now getting to the mansion.
So Sparty heading into the second frogs sequence, followed by Octopus. There are going to be 4 waves on Big Boss Hard. There's a starting wave and then 3 afterwards. And the whole idea is that the movement's going to bait the frogs to going into a specific location, get them all bunched up, take them out easy peasy, and of course that Big Boss mask may factor into this.
Yeah, also to note, Silent opted to do an alternative route to get to the mansion, whereas you saw Sparty take the high approach through the prisoner camp, whereas Silent went through another military camp, followed by going towards the right, closer to the bulldozer. Now, both will trigger the event, but I believe going towards the right may trigger the event slightly faster as opposed to going towards the left.
Yeah, it's one of the neat things about a few of the rooms in MGS4 and Act 1 and Act 2. They're so open that there really are some variations that you can take in your approach on your lines.
Yeah, it's almost like you almost want to convince yourself that it's like there's always more than one way to clear through a room. Like there's always, like, there may be the obvious way, but there's always another way to get there. And it looks like Silent opted to get the backup ration, which is not necessarily out of its way. It's on the table. It's on the way out. Given that, yeah, he's kind of living the dangerous life right now on the scarce rations. And now Sparty's now starting up his fight with Laughing Octopus, which he's opting to start with the railgun, which, as you can see, fully charged, does quite a bit of damage. A lot more than I thought it would, honestly.
Pretty powerful thing. And good thing is that this fight, as long as you know the route as far as where Octopus is going to hide, this is pretty much scripted. You know, Octopus tries to trick you, but we're better than that. We know the tricks up her sleeve.
Yeah, the railgun kind of accelerates the hide and seek tactic, as you would, because that's essentially what the fight is until she reveals herself, which, given, yes, there are predictable places where she will be, the constant is that she'll always start in the same place, and given that her HP influences where she will hide, or rather where she's likely to hide, and given that you trigger her to 50% quite early, will trigger a little mini event of Octopus pretending to be Otacon's little Mark II unit. And it looks like Silent, hopefully once he gets through this in a frog encounter, will attempt to do the same.
So now the beauty is out of the beast, and you've never seen an MGS4 run before. You're probably going to be mad if you didn't know about this strategy. Just go prone. They go prone, and it's pretty easy shooting at that point. Good use
Yeah,
of the solar gun to just decimate her stamina meter.
yeah, the whole advantage of getting the beauty to lie on the floor with you is that it mitigates the evasion. Because normally, if you fight them standing up, they're very likely to dodge. I've lost quite a bit of time trying to make it work with the solar gun standing up until I seen the strategy of lying down, where you start the fight, you lay down just 2 times, which triggers her to lay down on the floor with you, which now she can no longer dodge. Granted, you pace your shots properly with starting with the solar gun because it takes 50% off a fully charged shot, followed up with either the MK22 pistol. Sometimes you can use a shotgun V-ring, but MK22 has a faster reload rate versus the shotgun. And it just makes the fight in the second round a lot easier. It just eliminates all the headaches of, man, how could she dodge that? Because, like I said, I've lost quite a bit of precious seconds to wondering how she could dodge those certain shots.
So, if you played this game casually, know that this area that Sparty's in is a whole mess of footprint trails that you have to figure out where Naomi went. Luckily, as speedrunners, we already know the path, so that doesn't matter. The puzzle is irrelevant.
Yeah, I mean, as long as you know where to go, there's not really a whole lot going on here that's not already taken into account. Okay, so it looks like Silent now just finished up with, I'd probably say a little more than I would like for HP, but it gets the job done. Which he will now attempt to do the, get them on the ground with what would be, I would expect to be what Sparty did with the solar gun, followed up with, oh wow, Sparty took a ride with the mine there. Oh, interesting enough. So Silent opted to do a lethal finish for the Beauty 2 phase of Laughing Octopus, which the 50 caliber rifle, in addition to items like the solar gun, is one of your best friends to have to carry into battle. Solar gun is your best non-lethal approach, and in my opinion, the 50 caliber is your best lethal weapon you can have right next to the railgun. You know, it's a fast fire rate. It fires 50 caliber rounds, easy to reload. Railgun does have similar firepower strength to the 50 caliber, but it takes some time to charge it up. The ammo rate conversions are a little different from just having your typical 50 cal, but it does get the job done. All right, so now it looks like Sparty is now just starting the first auto-scroller segment, or interactive movie, as some may call it, of the Act 2, which is the APC escape with Drebin.
Now, this is a point-and-click adventure game, okay? We're doing some strong clicking on these guards. These zombos and the little robots that come in.
All right, so you'll notice that he's focus firing on the power suits and not the zombies. And simply put, is that the zombies are a distraction. They don't really do anything to harm you or your run, unless if they climb up, which that front one looks like he's trying to do. But I'm sure he'll get the message later that there's no hitchhikers allowed on this APC. Wow, he's still hanging on there.
No free rides. No free rides on the Drebin vehicle. I'm gonna step away for a quick moment. I'm sure Joseph has this covered.
Oh, believe you me. It's like, I don't know what to do. I'm just joking. Okay, so this is the second segment of the APC chase. Now, you'll notice that this gecko, which, interesting enough, he chooses to blow it up, but in other runs, when you're doing this for TBE, you'll often find it where you purposely let that gecko hit your APC. Now, you might be wondering, well, why in the world would you ever do that? You know, you don't want your APC to get damaged, but during this moment where you're just standing still blowing up geckos left and right, the zombies down below are trying to climb up to you. So one strategy to not deal with the zombies climbing up and addressing them is to let the gecko kick your APC, which will kick them off at the cost of damage, which in most cases is worth it. But it looks like Sparty got through, no problems. Let's see, Silent is still on his way. It looks like he's coming up towards the end of his path adventure to following Vamp. So now he's coming up to the APC segment. Okay, so now in this area is the world's strongest gate. I kid you not. You can put in as many 50 caliber rifles as you think it's required, and I will tell you it requires more. And more. And more. I don't know. It's just one of those funny things that you kind of... You don't really question it in the moment, but afterwards you're like, man, how in the world is that gate so strong? But as you can see, he just takes his time shooting the gate because, after all, you got nothing else to do but shoot the gate, as well as Otacon reminds you quite a bit throughout the game to shoot the gate, as if that's not the thing that you were already doing. But as you can see, he addresses his attention on the gate, he ignores the MGS APC tank, he ignores the zombies, and he's on his way. Silent is now just starting his APC segment, which, again, focusing on those power suits, they're blocking the way out. Just ignore everything else. And it looks like he's got one more behind that corner. Okay, and he looks like he cleaned that up fairly well. Alright, so now, in here, it's just gonna be more geckos to blow up. Nothing unusual from the beginning. Just blow up those two, turn the turret around, blow that one up. And then there's gonna be an MGS tank coming up from the rear, which you can just quickly take out a lot more easily than the gate. You know, ironically enough, it takes millions of rounds to take out one gate, but only just a short burst to take out that APC MGS tank. Alright, so now Silent's starting his... Oh, what's this now? So, okay, so unlike Sparty, he did have to address that one PMC that climbed up on the tank. It's kind of one of those random events that you have to plan for. Given if you're fast enough, you don't have to address it. Life is good. But sometimes geckos don't go down as quickly as you like. You know, as you can see, there's even a guy right behind him. Oh, boy. Alright, so thankfully Drebin hit the gas soon enough. You know, and the PMC just falls right off. Alright, and it looks like Sparty is now concluding the APC chase. Even with Otacon cheering him on. Alright, and that concludes the APC chase, or escape segment for Sparty. Looked pretty smooth, honestly. I didn't really see anything major that slowed his run down. I mean, he didn't run into any zombies on his turret. You know, didn't have to really address anything that already wasn't addressed. And now he makes his way into the marketplace where, you know, pardon the puns, but... Or not necessarily the puns, but my ripoff of Hollywood famous lines, but it's "Get to the chopper!" as Otacon and crew are waiting for you to get out. But once again, you just walk through the marketplace. You know, you get one gecko that's blocking your way, which, if you time it right, which he just did, you can dodge the 360 sweep. On TBE, I refer to it as the 360 sweep of death because on TBE, one hit from a gecko, or a lot of things will kill you, but on Big Boss Hard, with a ration, you can survive it. But he got out of there pretty smooth. Nice, well-timed roll into a cutscene. Gives you iframes. And now he begins his adventure into the most exciting act, in my opinion, which is Act 3. And as he begins, I think you'll understand why it's the, runner's favorite. Totally not in the most sarcastic way. But it basically involves following a resistance member around for quite a bit of time. It's a slow part to the run, but it does have its share of optimizations to kind of help expedite the process. Okay, so it looks like Silent still has quite a bit of ways to go, but he'll be done soon enough. Probably like in the next, probably like 2 to 3 minutes, he'll be out. Man, that would be something to hear some plywood ASMR for add some a little more excitement to what's potentially for some, including myself, the not so exciting. All right, so one thing you'll notice off the bat here is you keep your disguise, you know, because as you noticed, disguises are a good part of the run when they're used properly, but in this case, you keep the disguise you're provided with for Act 3, and he changes his face camo to something other than Old Snake or Young Snake. And the reason for changing the face camo disguise is so that the PMC guards are not alerted to you. You know, contrary to belief, but as long as you show up as anyone other than Old or Young Snake, the guards could not care. You know, they just see you as what looks like, you know, one of the big, one of the bosses, Laughing Octopus, as a matter of fact, you know, who, you know, they just killed just quite a bit ago. But to those PMC guards, I think they were just kind of kept out of the loop. But as far as they're concerned, you know, they don't really care. Just change your face cam disguise and life is good. But it looked like at the start, he did another misdirect with his pistol, which I believe is to help influence the pathway behavior for the resistance member, which you just see there. Because normally, the resistance member starts his pathway to the right. He slows down for a bit, looks around, he goes to the left, and then he goes to a corner, which is kind of slow. So my understanding is that doing that little misdirect, which causes the resistance member to alternate his path to a different location because he doesn't quite react well to, you know, ricochets, as most understandably. I mean, even those guys can't, you know, can't stand it, and they're sobbing. I mean, look at them. See, I mean, like that. See, like that guard right there. That's how I feel trying to run Act 3 for so many years. I'm just on the ground sobbing, saying, "Why, Kojima? Why? Why did you do this to us? Why did you give us this monstrosity known as Act 3?" But for the most part, as you're misdirecting and, you know, taking out some guards, because you know, for the most part, you are just following him around. But the on a casual basis, yeah, you are required to take out some guards to help the resistance member pass through. But quite literally, as you can see, Sparty, he's just kind of following him. And you know, even though the resistance member kind of checks around his shoulder every 2 seconds, and I mean literally every 2 seconds, he doesn't have a care in the world that there's just somebody just kind of following right behind him. But interestingly to note that some people might believe, well, you know, could you go ahead of the resistance member, clear his way for him, and then he just walks on his own? And my understanding is that it's not true, because his movement, not only is it environment based, meaning if there's guards in his way, he stops or he alternates his path. But if you're too far away from the resistance member, as much as you want to get away from him, you still have to be close by to trigger his movement to go forward. And so now it looks like Silent is, or what Sparty is doing here, and he's removing these guards out of sight, which again is part of the AI manipulation for the resistance member. When he normally, if he sees a body on the ground unconscious, it kind of gives him a brief pause, which lasts more. I would want to say, like, for every event, maybe it's like 5 to 6 seconds. You have to kind of wait for him to look, and then he kind of, you know, stabilizes and he starts moving again. But if you move him out of the way before he gets there, you just bypass that, you know, sudden shock that he's like, oh man, there's just two guards lying there. You know, because like I said, every bit of second you can squeeze out in this game is worth it. You know, despite how dreadfully slow it may seem. Okay, so once again, you can see Silent now doing the same strat of that misdirect, firing off a warning shot in the street, causing the resistance member to run around towards that opposite corner, which is going to get him further ahead faster than the standard path. Okay, so coming up here for Sparty is going to be an important fork in the road, if you would. Now, in a casual playthrough route, if you do not do this, it will cause the resistance member to go left, which takes you through an additional 2 zones to get to the endpoint, which, you know, you don't want him to do that. You know, you want to be fast. You know, you want to make him as fast as possible. So what he's going to do here is take out these 2 guards here, which are blocking his way. You know, because the tricky thing here is that you want to take out those guards without them seeing you, because despite the fact that, yes, you are in the trench coat with beauty mask disguise, but if you show your weapon to a PMC guard, they will be alerted to you, so you have to be very creative on how you take them out without them seeing you. And at the same time, you don't want to let the resistance members see you either, because it will cause them to either A, run away out of panic, you know, causing them to go out of their way, slow the run down, or if you get too close to them, like someone in the chat just mentioned, since you're wearing the beauty mask, it kind of makes the resistance member interested in you in a way, which, you know, you don't want to do that. You know, as much as you may like the guy, he's not worth it. Trust me, he's not worth it.
Whew, I came back just in time for the best part of the run.
Oh man, I thought you were gonna miss out on the best part.
No, I couldn't avoid this. I mean,
I mean, because clearly, after all my years of running, I mean, this is my favorite part of the game. I mean, there's no intensity. You're just following a guy around, shooting a few guards. I mean, what's better than that?
I mean, I do like with New Game Plus that they do use that bullet variation for the Mark II to save a little bit of time, so that the resistance member doesn't investigate the sleeping guards, but he won't care about guards that are screaming in pain and agony and crying.
Okay, so now this is the second zone, which I believe is I think it's the northern section. Honestly, I forget the different sections at times, but this is the second portion of 3 zones, which would be your optimal route with the resistance member. Now, the chopper is normally a threat, but given again that, yes, you're in that unique disguise, the chopper will not be alerted to you as much as the PSM guards would be. You know, and then I think, again, he's going to do, let's see. Okay, so I think what he's doing here, he's doing a little bit of guard manipulation. He's allowing for the resistance member to advance forward, because one of the tricky things you want to avoid is not only, again, letting the PMC guards see you, but you don't want the PMC guards to see the resistance member, because technically, it's on curfew. No one's supposed to be out. So if they see him lurking about, they're gonna haul him away to a place probably not so friendly. And, you know, again, it just wastes time. So by sitting in that corner and having the guards notice you, it kind of allows for the resistance member to get further down that street without them seeing him, you know, and keeps them moving. Man, I feel bad for those 2 right there. It's like it was either he was putting them out of their misery, you know, kind of rubbing it in. It was like, yes, I did this to you, and now you're going bye-bye. Let's see, so Silent... Let's see, Silent is opting to do... Let's see, now he just CQC'd a guard, and he's dragging him along. I'm actually kind of curious what he's up to here.
Sergeant, what are you up to here, huh? What's going on here, okay? In Eastern Europe.
I don't know, it's just things.
Things are happening. Look, that's all I can say, folks. Things are happening. But it is pretty incredible how useful this beauty mask is here, and it really does make this whole sequence a lot easier.
Indeed.
Nice use of that bullet distraction to advance the resistance member further up. which seems like a small thing, but being able to advance him to the next checkpoint on his route, pretty big deal. Given that we can't really do a whole lot.
This is HQ.
Okay, so it looks like that misdirect brings him to this corner here, which is a normal stopping point for the resistance member. Now in the totally not fake guard disguise, including with the standard edition biker's helmet, which is the one thing I always found odd about his disguise, aside from the fact that he has no main weapon equipped.
Safety first, okay? Not like a soldier's helmet, like literally for a bicycle.
Exactly. Who knows? Maybe he's part of the Raging Ravens, bike racing team.
The PMC has their weekly end of curfew bike race. It's nice and quiet, so
I mean,
no one's on the streets to ruin it.
I mean, it's either that or it's just like a low-budget helmet. Like, maybe they just ran out of PMC helmets and are like, here you go. It's good enough.
Well, that's the mark that you're due on the squad. That's how they haze you. You get the bike helmet.
Yeah, so you have to get promoted up to helmet. And you also get a main weapon.
Promotion. Then you get a weapon. You're not just gonna throw your helmet at people or I don't know what else. Throw your little fanny pack.
This is HQ.
Let's
Listen,
see,
folks, we have to riff for a bit, okay?
I mean, we're trying our best here. I mean, it is Act 3 after all. So we're getting there. Okay, so luckily he didn't have to do this here, but normally, in addition to these misdirects with the pistol, you have to do a little bit of cheat manipulation, which is a thing on difficulties. I want to say normal and above, but definitely on hard and above. On lower difficulties, I believe the Jeep does not spawn there, which is just another obstacle between you and your goal of, slowly getting your guy there. So one of the things that you would do is just kind of, do the thing you're not taught to do, is stand in the street with a moving vehicle coming at your way. Because, believe you not, I mean, the Jeep can and will run over your resistance member without any second thought. And in most cases, in a single segment, it's a rip run. In a multi-segment, you could reload, which costs you a bit of time and some added frustration. But one of those simple things, again, just, in a disguise where, you're not going to get spotted. I mean, standing in front of the Jeep in your disguise, you're not going to get spotted. All you're doing is just stopping it. And it allows for, our friend here, his safe journey to the hideout.
I thought that bike helmet would do wonders, but I guess it wouldn't, huh?
Oh, you would think so. But, I mean, again, you have to get promoted up to helmet.
The full helmet, yeah.
I mean, he doesn't have the full helmet yet. It's kind of like I joke about in MGS2, like, why you see guards with boxers and why you don't, and my explanation is like, well, clearly you have to get promoted up to pants. I mean, it's the same thing.
Full-on pants promotion.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I will be.
Pray for the Raven fight, which is a big obstacle. The next two beauty fights, Wolf and Raven, can really pendulum swing the pace here.
Yeah, even on a TBE run, I mean, it just, my feelings are that, like, Raven and Wolf are probably, like, your highly influential boss fights in the run. I mean, Octopus can be, but your advantage is that you can predict her movements. You're just kind of following a routine, so to speak, but, Raven and Wolf can really stir things up, and not always for the better. Okay, so it looks like he's just kind of waiting for him to cross to his final corner, so Sparty will be, I think he's probably like a minute or two away from finishing up. And now Silent is kind of joining the new rookie squad, admiring the helmetless guard.
And once we're done with one auto scroller, we join the next.
Oh yeah, if you thought the auto scrolling was done, oh.
Not even close.
Oh man, man, it's like yeah, I hope you like auto scrollers because that's what you're gonna get. I'm just kidding. Some of them are good, just not this one. I mean, I'm sorry. I mean, I try to like this segment, and Silent, I kid you not, makes fun of me for this, and I'm like, listen, I just cannot stand Act 3. I don't know how you do it.
I mean, this is just a huge mistake by the programmers. For New Game Plus, at least, there should have been something to not make it quite as tedious.
I mean, something to really expedite the whole thing forward. You know, like even just reduce the amount of zones you would have to travel, or like start in an alternate location. You know,
Or
making the trip
go
shorter.
straight to the church.
Yeah, I mean, just skip the whole thing together. I mean, that'd be wonderful. But it almost seemed like to me it was kind of like one of those experiments gone weird. Not necessarily gone bad, but it was like for the weird. Okay, so now Sparty begins the next auto scroller, which is the infamous Act 3 bike escape. Lots of things going on here, and I guess we'll try to explain it as best as we can as he does it. But one of the things that you'll notice that he'll use right away is aiming, which, you know, it helps you quite a bit trying to target guards going along the, you know, the streets of Europe here. All right, so he may do it again. Okay, no, so he's gonna opt for a barrel detonation here because like MGS3, if you detonate barrels with guards next to them, as long as you do not shoot the guard doing it, it does not count as a kill, which given this condition of the run, it probably doesn't matter, but at the same time, you know, it kind of takes out guards at the cost of one bullet. It's just very convenient to have. If you're going for big boss, blowing up barrels is an essential because you're not going to get everybody with the Mark II pistol. As good of a shot you may be, but those barrels in this segment are going to be your best friend for removing guards out of your way. And it looks like he had a very good first segment of the bike escape. You know, it didn't really take any damage. Because that's the one thing you want to be in control of is the damage. The damage you're going to take. You know, because sometimes you will have to take damage, but there are some things you can do to avoid it. So as you can see here, he's going to use a solar gun to take out this group of 5 guards. Swept to the auto wing with the pistol to take out the turret. But it looks like turret is still up, so he may shoot it here. I actually can't tell if he hit him. Okay, so I think at this point he's still safe. The turrets are usually a threat to you when they're up close, because they, aside from, you know, a hail of gunfire from everyone else, are like your biggest sources of damage taken. They can do quite a bit of damage on hard mode. On TBE, it's even worse. They can take up to like 50% plus in one shot. So here you can see again, he's just using his barrels to his advantage, taking out the guards all piled up in that corner. Shoot the rest.
Thankfully, the rations really can save your tuchus here in case bad stuff happens. Slow-mo Mark II action!
Oh man, look at that item cycle reload there.
Impressive tactical reloading.
Yeah, because see, that's one of the benefits to this game is that it allows you to have different equipment styles, which include equip, unequip, which is one item, and then it unequips it. You can also have a previous, which is similar to MGS2, where you could swap between 2 items. And now comes MGS4, where you can allow for up to 3 items on a cycle A, B, and C. And your inventory also follows the same methodology of item management should you choose it. And so it looks like he's having a really good second segment here. You know, I mean, things are going really well for him right now. Well, except for that guy that kind of collapsed on the bike. It didn't end up well for him, but Sparty's doing.
So in the third bike chase screen, I think we're going to start seeing Raven, and I'm going to try and use the grenade launcher to hit her while she's flying in the air. To can get 25% for HP done, but it's a bit of a tricky hit to do.
We have to keep Big Boss's
Yeah,
body
it kind of
out.
reminds me of the Shagohod segment where you can have some like pre-damage before a fight. You know, the Shagohod is a little more generous, but with Raven it is a little tricky. Her hitbox is kind of strange. But I think, like you say, through some careful use of auto aim and grenade launch, you can get quite a bit of damage if done correctly.
Sparty informing us that he will not be doing it, so I think we'll expect it with Sergeant. Again,
Yeah,
I'm only
'cause-
going off of his notes, so that probably means he will do it.
Yeah, I mean, like, auto aim is more or less, like, not really like a safe, but it's more consistent. You know, because, like, the minute you go away from auto aim for something like hitting Raven in the air, I mean, you're kind of audibling the run. You know, you're kind of, you know, taking, not really a risky, but it's not as reliable, but only if you don't get it. Because if you get it, it works out great. But a lot of times, like you see with auto aim with Sparty here, it's just consistent. You know, because this whole bike chase is just one big auto scroller. I mean, it's all pre-planned. Like, you know what's about to come ahead. You know when to use your weapon when you're supposed to. It's now coming up as a Humvee shot, which he's gonna auto aim it. And it looks like, yeah, he did get it. And I'll tell you, that is not an easy shot, by the way, even on auto aim. I've missed so many shots and lost HP for free because of that corner. Here comes another Humvee, which is even harder than the first. And he gets it on the first shot. Very nice. Okay, and then for this part, he's just gonna, you know, stare at the Jeep that's trying to ram into him. Okay, so now coming up for Sparty is gonna be, in my opinion, one of the hardest corners in this chase, where you're most likely to take damage from Humvee fire. So it looks like he's going to auto-aim it. He got the first. And it looks like he's through. Because those two Humvees, when they pincer in, they can do quite a bit of damage to you if you don't address it. Or other times what happens is they'll detonate a car that's coming up. And the explosion damage, in addition to the burn, can take quite a bit of HP off. Here comes another slow-mo. You ready, Plywood?
Part 2 action.
Oh, we got the first one. Oh, and we're back. Okay, some more quick use of barrels. You know, because if there's the one thing you got plenty of in this escape, is barrels. Plenty of them. Okay, so he waited there a little bit to detonate that barrel so that a frog lines up in position first, because you don't want to detonate them too soon. It's one of the rookie mistakes that I've often done myself, which is sometimes you just want to shoot whatever you see, but you kind of want to wait, you know, for its best effective usage. But it looks like he's through the worst of it. So you just got one more barrel here. And then he's got another group of 3 frogs here. Just shoot him out with the solar gun, which the nice thing about this segment is that it only takes one hit to knock them out with the solar gun, unlike in normal conditions where it takes a more charged shot to fully knock them out. But in this escape, it's a little generous. Just hit them once, and they're out. And there goes Sparty popping that wheelie, and he's done. Going into Raging Raven.
Yep, and Sergeant coming into the third
I've
screen,
got bad news. The decoy bands have
where I
all
think
been
we will see him try to get those shots off.
focusing on you now. I just need you to hold the
Let's
ball.
see. Oh, he's got the grenade launcher out. I think he might go for it.
He's going for it.
Oh, he's doing it. Let's see. It only looked like he got one full hit. I mean, he may have gotten 2, but I don't know if I saw it. Okay, so now what you're seeing Sparty here do with the railgun is lining it up at this window. Hopefully going for a quick kill. And I believe he may have gotten it. I'm just going to wait until finish just menuing his next set of items. And he did it.
Well done. Nice shot from Sparty.
Yeah, that is one of the hardest things to do in this game, besides, you know, enduring Act 3 itself, is lining up, you know, the perfect shot against Raven, which, if you do line it up at her head at the right time as she flies through, because her beginning flight path is consistent, you'll get an instant kill. Let's see. Oh, interesting. Okay, there's the full damage. Yeah, it was kind of odd with, I couldn't tell if he wasn't fully charged, but yeah, it only looked like it did like a fraction of stamina damage in that solar gun, because it normally takes 2 full charged shots. But yeah, the instant kill on Raven is probably one of the hardest things to do. You know, because a lot of times you'll often get like a 2-hitter where you'll hit her body, she'll fly in, you'll have to shoot another charge shot or possibly a 50 caliber to finish it. But very nicely done on Sparty.
Alright folks, we're coming up to the part of the run that I know very well, okay? It's gonna be super exciting because I know this game, played this game, played it earlier, so I'll be able to make great commentary here. Get ready.
Oh, I'm ready.
I'm glad you're ready. We're all waiting in anticipation. I am.
Oh, here comes the next slow-mo. Slow-mo. Oh my god, they just got wrecked. So he's opting to go with the grenade launcher route, unlike Sparty that went through majority MK22 and mix of solar gun, as well as the Uzi for shooting barrels. So it looks like he may do it again here with the grenade launcher. Okay, follow up with some Mark II shots.
There is a wasp on my mouse right now.
Oh man, Monka S, dude. I think you need a new mouse.
It is crawling towards me.
Pray for plywood, everyone.
I wanted to talk about my favorite part.
Oh, hey, look, it's your game.
Alright, so up on the helipad, he's not gonna get the chaff grenade. It's pointless. You don't need it. Just go straight for the vent. Take the shot, it's fine. Just do the throw. Boom. Don't do a quick throw because you don't have a weapon, and done. That's MGS1, baby.
See, I knew you came prepared.
Yes, I was prepared for that. And, you know what? Sergeant smartly did not add a note for that. So good job, Sergeant. I can talk about that part. No problem. Okay, guys. I'm gonna try and remove this wasp from the face of the earth. Wish me luck.
I'm holding my breath.
It's like on the corner of the desk. Oh, man.
Well, while Plywood's trying to deal with his life emergency, Sparty's now just beginning Act 4, which is the return trip to Shadow Moses. So it looks like his main item of choice will be the chaff grenade, since you're no longer dealing with guards at this point. It's mainly with geckos and dwarf geckos, and your chaff grenade is gonna be your most likely weapon of choice. Get you through pretty easily. Up until when you get up to Crying Wolf. But for the most part, yeah, you do not need the big boss mask here, since yeah, machines know no fear. You know, it does not work against them, but yeah, chaff grenades are their worst enemy. Okay, so it looks like Silent is about to do his beauty tube, which he easily does with the stun grenade launcher. So very nicely done on him. I couldn't tell if he got the perfect shot or not on Raging Raven in the first phase. I mean, he may have, but I just missed it because I was partially distracted with Plywood's emergency, the wasp. I mean, nobody likes wasps. as well as so it looks like Sparty is now going into the nuclear warhead storage building, which of course again is just going to be mostly stroll through the park up until when you get these force codecs. You know, you could skip them quite easily, just, you know, press start, and then you have to trigger this door to, again, just advance the story, you know, which triggers a conversation between Otacon and Snake saying, hey, there's no power to the door. I think we got to go to the lab to flip the power button.
All right, Wasp update. It flew away before I could give him the napkin special, so I got a fly swatter now.
Well, I'm glad to know you made it back in one piece, Blywood.
Well, pray for my safety yet. Oh, by the way, everyone, there was a wasp in my room like last week, so I'm starting to get a bit suspicious.
Oh boy. Man, that definitely made me nervous.
Yeah. All right, Sergeant Silent coming up to you know where. Sparty making his way to the lab. Old memories, folks. Remember this? This didn't happen in the relay race because we skipped all this. Snake never met Otacon in the any percent route until the very end of the game. All right, let's see how Sergeant handles the helipad. Oh, he's actually going for the chaff grenades. Bold strategy. I hope it pays off. But you don't have them equipped. You got to have those chaff equipped to run faster. Oh my gosh. That was quite the display. If you die there, does the whole thing just... Or do you have to start the screen again? I honestly don't know. That was scary, though. That was very scary. You can die and it continues as normal? Oh. Wouldn't it be faster just to, like, take the shots on the helipad, then? I don't know. No. Good thing Sparty can talk about this. Then you have to menu. Game over. I see. Well, had to offer it as a possibility at least. So you see Sparty taking out these Gakko hanging out in the nuke building, or what was the nuke building. I'm just waiting for that door to unlock. As we take our casual stroll through Shadow Moses. But don't worry, we'll be back in Shadow Moses for the final game, Twin Snakes. Okay, so heading into Crying Wolf. This fight's a bit infamous as I understand it, because randomness is a factor in terms of her spawn point. And if she runs away, you gotta find her again. So that can be a bit of a problem. Now the goal is to get a smoke under her and then fire the grenade launcher rounds at her. So let's see how Wolf treats Sparty here. There's also these frog units. Now, the wind direction actually does play a factor in whether Wolf can see us or not.
Let's see if this... Alright, can you hear me again?
I can hear you.
Okay, yeah, maybe...
I was like dying for water here. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, I guess maybe during that flashback it almost made me you know, almost made me lose it. I don't know what happened, but yeah, I guess like as Plywood was saying, you know, Crying Wolf is probably one of the most RNG heavy bosses in this game. You know, her spawn can be one of, I mean, maybe like a dozen places. I mean, some of them are good. One of them is particularly awful, which looking to see where Sparty is checking, because sometimes she could spawn in this back corner. There are 2 close spawns where she'll be closest to your start, which is the most optimal. She could spawn left or right in the back field, which is where you fight Sniper Wolf during the second round, you know, for MGS1 and Twin Snakes fans. But it looks like I couldn't tell if she got spooked and moved, or if he still couldn't find her. Because normally it would not take this long to be able to locate her.
It's a bit of a struggle bus right now. There's the struggle truck right there.
Uh-huh. Let's see. So I think she's going to be right there, right behind that tree. Oh no, those are some frogs.
I finished unlocking the door on the first floor.
Yeah, because unfortunately with this fight, when you spook her off her starting spawn point, it's quite of a journey to find her again, because she can literally move all over the place before you relocate her, while trying to avoid being spotted by the frogs at the same time.
Yeah, it's the whole thing about that quick kill, huh? That, like, really key that you get that quick kill, or else this fight can just be a huge pain.
Oh man, she's coming.
Okay, here we go. Throw that toss that smoke grenade.
Okay, Snake.
This could be a very big opportunity for Sergeant, by the way. He's quickly coming up to the Crying Wolf fight.
Yeah, he's closing in. All right, so it looks like she reset.
All right, going for those shots. 3,
Okay, so
4.
I want to say it's 6. Yeah, that's 6 hits. Yeah, it's 6 hits on hard TBE, but I'm not 100% certain on normal and below. It might be less, but yeah, 6 stun grenades while she's coughing is pretty normal. Alternatively, if you don't have any stun grenades in your grenade launcher, you can do that strat of what he just did with normal stun grenades, but it's way slower, less ideal, and I mean, look at that. I mean, that's just instant. It's like, why wouldn't you have it? Unless you're me. You know, which didn't realize you can buy them for years until I changed my my New Game Plus to a different difficulty to buy them.
Okay, well, I think all eyes are on Sergeant, whether he can really pull off a quick Crying Wolf here. Because if he can, this is going to become a pretty interesting Act 5, I'm going to say that. Especially with the Ray Rex fight. That could also affect things a bit too.
Yeah, there's a quick kill strat for Ray. There's also top deck optimization for Outer Haven in Act 5. I mean, there's opportunities to come back, and for Silent, it's going to start with, you know, what spawn he gets, and if he gets a 1 instant setup, you know, like he doesn't spook her away and then have to, you know, relocate. Okay, so now I believe that alert is intentional. What Silent got there. You know, because I mean, you can be spotted early prior to finding her, so there she is. So that's a really good spawn to get. Going right side.
Great spawn, great fight. That
Very good.
That just really made up.
Yeah, I mean, that was probably as good as a wolf as you'll get.
Also, shoutouts to Arlues for being online on a Sergeant screen.
Where would we be without our Lewis?
I think Arlues was the key to his success there. So yeah, this race just became a bit interesting, folks. At first, we had this huge disparity due to loads, and then, lo and behold, Crying Wolf completely killed a huge chunk of Sparty's lead. Now he's got like, you know, 2 minutes?
Yeah, I want to say he's like around, maybe like 2.5 to 3 minutes ahead, still. But coming up is gonna be the vamp fight, which of course again you're seeing more use of misdirect with pistol, chaff grenades, which makes that area that Sparty just went through a breeze. You know, because it's chaff grenade again is really your best friend for this act. Okay, so it looks like Silent is getting through as well. Again, you can be spotted briefly, but as long as your chaff grenade goes off, you know, all is well. Hey, look, that area looks familiar. On Sparty's screen.
Snake.
Don't remind me.
I've got something.
I don't know, I think you might know that area very well.
Yeah, I don't even need a reminder.
Something about Rexes and, you know, guards, and particularly a very favored rat.
Thankfully, I don't think there's any rats in this game, in this act, so... Instead, we have a vampire jumping from rubble to rubble.
Alright, so what he's gonna do, he's just gonna use a solar gun, and oh no, so that was a misplay there. But thankfully backed up with a second shot. Because you want to charge up that solar gun right as Vamp is on the ground, because you can only syringe him to end the fight when he's on the ground. A common mistake is to get him when he's not on the ground, and then he has to revive, thus extending the fight even more. Okay, so now this is probably what I would call an interactive movie. You know, because you're just shooting out Gecko while Vamp and Raiden are kind of, you know, playing daggers with each other. And you're just kind of chilling until their fight's done.
Playing the old Sharpie.
Yeah, trying to see whose knife is better.
Now, I will say that the gameplay on the right is more exciting than the gameplay on the left. Can you imagine if it was the other way around, like you were playing as Raiden here, and then on the other side you just see Snake just like pew.
I'm like, hey, where's that game? I want to play that game over there.
I think that game came out. It's called Rising Revengeance.
Oh yeah, my thumb remembers.
Stay en route.
Yeah, it's a very intensive but fun game.
Rex is on the floor above you. Use the
Wait,
lift.
what game were we talking about again? I thought we were just blowing up some geckos.
Oh, I kind of lost it. I thought we were talking about MGS1 for a quick moment. Then we were in MGS4. Now we're talking about Rising.
Okay, so now it looks like Silent is gonna step into the Vamp fight, which, again, I mean, could add another significant step to gaining back time with Sparty. Alright, so again, he's gonna charge the solar gun.
We
Okay, he'll get it. Oh no, he misses too! Oh man. Alright, so
He's
hopefully
gonna
he'll
get
get a
knocked
backup.
over.
Alright, so like Sparty, he also gets the good backup. You know, it's, you know, the one decent thing with the solar gun is that it does provide you a decent recharge to get that second shot in, unlike the railgun, which, I don't know, probably takes just as long as it does to complete Act 3 to get the full power.
You've got to keep them back. I'm sending you data on where to aim. Put a bullet through their brain.
Oh man, look at all this action we're getting here.
We're getting 4 rectangles of action. I mean, and in those 4 rectangles are larger rectangles, and then there's the rectangle of the Twitch stream. I mean, there's so many rectangles here.
Yeah, it's like there couldn't be enough rectangles in our lives.
No, I think we need more rectangles. Anyone got some more rectangles? Post your favorite rectangles.
Oh, you know I got this one. Well, it's more of a square, but you get the idea.
Well, it is true though that squares are rectangles. All squares are rectangles, but not all rectangles are squares. So you got it.
Man, that just blew my mind over learning the resistance trick.
Hashtag geometry class.
Okay, so it looks like Sparty will be done. probably like he has like one more wave of geckos to go.
Here they come again. Hang in there, Snake.
I mean, technically, like the objective is not to get them to blow up, so it's not like they're specifically tied to the fight progress that, you know, Raiden and Vamp are undergoing, but it still looks more exciting than, you know, kind of like what Snake's doing. I mean, even Sparty's looking up and saying, man, why can't I be playing that game up there?
Yeah, that's a more exciting fight than the Vamp fight we had with Snake, where it's like, yeah, I hit you once and then I inject you with the syringe I've been using for myself the whole run.
Now, I know Snake just said he couldn't shoot right there, but I want to I want to hold up the red card for that one, because I do believe he could have taken that shot if he wanted to. I mean, just kind of get that kill steal from Raiden and just be like, yeah, I did that. So now it's going to come up the Rex segment of Act 4, which is going to lead up towards what will potentially be a quick kill strat, if either Sparty or Silent will get it. But in this segment with Rex, you're just doing two things. You're moving forward and you're spamming X. And that's it.
Little dash.
Yep. Because technically it's faster to dash forward than it is to walk normally. It does save quite a bit of significant time from the beginning to end. I don't have the exact number of how much time it would save on one method over the other, but...
like a year.
I was gonna go with 2 years, but, you know, a year sounds pretty good. But I think one thing that you'll notice that Sparty will do if they're going for the quick kill strat is that right before he gets to the end of this tunnel, he's gonna swap from Gatling gun to missile, which is a prerequisite to doing the kick kill strat for Rex. Which involves some missile usage, position manipulation, and a charged laser, if he gets it. Because it's a lot harder than it looks, but if you get it, it pays dividends for saving time. Meanwhile, Silent is Silent's kind of just gathering some sunlight.
It's hard to in this underground base.
Sunlight! I'm telling you, man, that's the best part of the game right there. Forget about piloting Metal Gear Rex for the first time ever, but just hearing Snake gathering some sunlight is the best thing. Okay,
right.
so
Here we go.
Let's see what Sparty will opt to do here. Okay, so he is going to switch to missile. It just gives you a nice little damage boost at the start while it gives him time to charge his laser up. Now, if he does this right, he's going to fire this laser at the exact moment when he dashes in, which will do a significant amount of damage because it's during what would be thought of as an iframe, but it's not. So here he goes. He's charging him up again. He's kind of waiting for Ray to get in position, which is the hardest part, is getting him in the right spot.
Well, folks, I think we will call that Team Solid and hashtag Virgin Liquid, hashtag potable water. It's again going to be a nice opportunity for Sergeant if he can get that quick kill, because this is looking to be a bit of a tough situation.
Yeah, it looks like he's getting some pretty bad Ray RNG. You know, he's not really kind of getting it, because you kind of want him to dash in, which is hard for him to do consistently. Which involves a bit of position manipulation on your end, as well as manipulating his position on Ray's end. But yeah, so, I mean, anything goes at this point.
You kind of want to be careful, right? Because Ray can do some pretty serious damage to Rex if you're not careful.
Yeah, I mean, the most dangerous thing Ray can do to you is get up close and he'll do like a 3-hit wombo combo, as I would call it, which he'll kind of do like a hit or two, which does quite a bit of damage, and then he'll do like another headbutt which does some more, followed by an animation of him jumping on your head. So it looks like, to me, on Sparty's end, he may just go for a traditional kill. I just don't think he got the setup for the quick kill. So he may just opt to just kind of end this normally. But yeah, I mean, right now, Silent's just starting up race. So I mean, this race was kind of spaced between for quite a bit. And, you know, it's getting close.
It's all up to Sergeant. Can he pull it out? He got half health.
Let's see, and we got a little bit of a one right there, but that's the idea, is to get him to either jump in or perfectly dash in.
Baby!
Oh, there we go. That's it. Wow, and this race just took a turn.
Act 4 completely deleted Sparty's lead, and Sergeant now ahead. This late into the run, very impressive.
Yeah, I mean,
you see Ocelot running there. That's Sergeant running with the lead right there.
Yeah, he's just, you know, he's running ahead. He's turning around. He's like, I got it.
So this is really going to come down to two things, as I understand it. One, that deck, and two, that fist fight.
Yeah, and I guess a little bit of Mantis, but the thing with Mantis is that it's kind of more of a scripted fight than an actual fight. I mean, the worst thing you could do is, you know, miss your hits on the doll, which causes her to move around some more. But yeah, the big things in play is going to be top deck movement and the good old fisticuffs with Brother Liquid. I mean, because literally, if you think about it, this whole Team Solid versus Team Liquid is going to take place in this game. I mean, they're going to fight each other.
Yeah. Well, kind of. Sort of. Kind of.
I don't know. That was just my poor attempt of in-game humor.
You know, there's these two brothers fight over and over again. Oh man, that SSD, and now like they're pretty much even. So, oh boy, oh boy. Okay, so they're doing their menus, and this is pretty important. It's not important in IGT because IGT is not doesn't Factor in the menus, but it certainly is. The Wasp is back.
Man, just when you thought it was over.
It's not over. It wasn't over.
Well, I mean, you know, you know, like Liquid says, it's not over yet. I wish you the best of luck of, you know, Wasp, Wasp elimination, but it looks like Sparty got a good start with his top deck. Opted to go towards the right side. Oh no, you missed.
Go away.
No.
Oh boy. This is not looking good.
Man, look at this. I mean, they're both at the door. Sparty just getting in. Oh no, but Silent though. And oh. Okay, that is one way to get in the door. You know, forcefully, but they do make it through the top deck. But unfortunately, because he got spotted, he has to wait for the alert to wear up before the elevator will close. But you know what? I mean, this race is anyone's game, honestly. I mean, I really, you know, like I said, Mantis will probably be a little bit of contribution to the pace, but then coming up for Sparty, I believe he's going to attempt to do a frog wave skip, which is using a precise use of spokes and singling out one of the frogs to basically glitch the game into spawning the remaining 3 waves. Because normally this encounter here, which Sparty just started, is 3 waves of frogs. There's a lot of them. It takes forever. There's got to be a better way, and there is. So he's going to take out what looks like 3 out of the 5 starting frogs. I think this is number 4. Okay, so that was number 4. So there's the last frog of wave 1. So what he's gonna do is keep her in place while using a smoke, which lands. And while that smoke is affecting the frog, he's gonna throw a smoke into her. So even though she's coughing, her stamina bar, as you may notice, is at 0, despite the fact that she's coughing, which is gonna glitch the game into thinking that, wait a minute, how could this be? I mean, there's a frog that's kind of alive but not, and doing that will allow you to skip the remaining 2 waves, which he just did. You know, so very nicely done. And it looks like Silent is also doing the same. Looks like he got it. And now begins Screaming Mantis Phase 1. So it
They
looks
say
like
she's screaming, but she was laughing there. I'm gonna call BS on that.
Oh, just wait till later. Sunlight! Man, you can't go wrong with that sunlight.
No, I think that's one of the best aspects of NG+.
I mean, in addition to the benefit of knocking out enemies quickly, the projectile heavily favors this encounter as opposed to using items like your pistol, your M4, or sniper. But from what Silence told me before was that the projectile for the solar gun is not only favorable, but it shoots really fast. You know, it's very easy to use. And it looks like Sparty is going to be on... oh look, he's got one more hit to go. So look, he's going to be on the second of 2, like, mini phases. Hell yeah, get that sunlight in. Man, he is having a lot of fun with that solar gun.
Who wouldn't?
Alright, so this is phase 3. The doll should have, I believe, 2 hits remaining. Okay, so... yeah, so he didn't get it there, which will cause her to move. Move inward, which you can use to your advantage if you're quick enough on the trigger. But it looks like he just got the doll to be shot out of her hands. Now, despite in New Game Plus, I believe you have to repossess the doll in order to use it against her, as it would normally be done in New Game. Alright, so he's got 1, 2... oh man, she's got the jukes. Okay, now he got it. Now, despite what you see on the screen of flipping up and down, the optimal thing to do is to wave left and right with your controller. It does a lot more damage.
I'm so relieved about that. I'm so relieved that you really don't need to use 6-axis for this run.
Okay, so they're both done. Okay, so Sparty just finished his phase 2. Silent's not going to do his phase 1. Which again will utilize the, you know, laying on the ground and hitting triangle twice. On the 3rd time just to get her to roll over. And then just a simple stun nade finish. I'm telling you, with Plywood, I mean, honestly, this run's going to be determined on Liquid. I mean, who does the best Liquid?
What is our split time here, Roy? Final punch? Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's just Final Punch is easier to track. You know, it gives you like a visual cue. Because I used to do it by ending the cutscene and, but yeah, it's typically on Final Punch. Yeah, it's literally the final stretch. I mean, it's gonna be whoever does Liquid beats them up. Now I think they're gonna do the MGS4 version of the Infinite Punch of Liquid, as you've commonly seen in runs like an MGS1. The setup is a little different, but it does pay out greatly when it works. And from what I've been told, it's not particularly too hard to set up, but it's maintaining it is the trick. Because sometimes if you spam too much on your right trigger, you'll opt to do the full like 3-punch double kick combo, which you don't want to do. You kind of want to loop the first 2 punches, which hopefully we'll get to see once Sparty is done with this Dwarf Gecko hallway, which why they added it in, I'll never know. They just wanted you to have one less chance of saying goodbye to your little friends. Wow, they just kind of, you know, dance around in the chaff grenade.
Now, you really don't have to mash that hard for this microwave hallway, huh?
Not at the start. I mean, the start you don't, but at the end, only to a certain point. But yeah, you don't have to really, like, overly mash it. I mean, I do it just because it makes me feel like I'm getting into it with the run, making me realizing, like, I'm almost done, but you really don't have to overexert the mashing. But yeah, for this part, we're just gonna watch Snake get cooked. But I don't know about you, Plywood, but I like my snakes extra crispy. Cause Snake's gonna get a lot of cooking right now.
Snake, that place is saturated with microwaves. The longer you stay in there, the greater damage you'll take. Get through there as quickly.
Man, look at this, more rectangles. Can't get enough of those rectangles. But yeah, for like the first 2 parts of the hallway, you're just moving it forward. Nothing really out of the ordinary going on. And then once you get to here, then you start the mashing. You know, get a nice view of Snake's dummy thick cheeks. And also what I've been told is that you want to keep the camera forward as much as you can. And you also want to keep his movement as in the middle as possible. Because you can get shocked additional times if you veer off course, you get closer to those probes sticking out on the walls there. And as far as the camera usage, like you could literally move the camera in 360 if you want. But, you know, Silence told me in the past that sometimes your camera can manipulate Snake's movement a bit, which, yeah, you could do it for fun, but sometimes it just leads to, you know, you veering off course before you realize it. But once again, it almost seems like the game that's happening above is more exciting than the game that's happening below. Okay, so he's got just a little more to go. I mean, Silence just like, he's in the same section with him. I mean, he's almost there. This is gonna be a really close race. Alright, so now Silence on his final stretch here.
Crawl, crawl, crawl some more.
Alright, so you can kind of see Sparty kind of letting up on the mashing a little bit because you can see the spamming indicator, because I think once he gets to this final point, and I believe you just have to crawl for just a little bit, enough to trigger like the final cutscene to happen, then you just stop. You could continue to crawl, but it doesn't really matter. Alright, so as you can see, he just has to crawl like one more cycle. And I think once you get to here, then you can stop. You know, but I think, yeah, he just chose to keep crawling. No, because the thing about the crawling here is that it's not really like you're gonna lose time if you overexert the mashing. You know, aside from just not getting killed here. But it's just mainly to give yourself a break. You know, because it can get quite tiring, because as you can see, Silent chose to just kind of take a breather. Well, I guess Otacon didn't like that. Alright, so now here we go with Sparty now starting the final fight with Liquid.
This is really where it all comes down. And here comes that little infinite tappity tap 1 2 1 2.
Yep, there he goes. Yeah, because the way that this works is that once you start hitting Liquid, his cooldown is quite longer than you think, you know, which allows you to get a huge amount of damage, you know, literally just through tapping away at those buttons. You know, but yeah, as you can see, every once in a while he will try to duck underneath, which you could follow up with a punch kick. Okay, so now Silent now starting his fight with Liquid. Now Sparty getting into phase 2. Oh, there goes the shoulder check. Oh man, that is gonna be quite a doozy to come back from, but it's still anybody's game at this point. Okay, got knocked down a second time.
Yeah, the real tough thing about this whole fight is that you don't want to get into those long cutscene cinematic shots. You want to just be in control as much as possible, as I understand it.
Yeah, you want to be in control of your punching rhythm as well as where Liquid is, and like you say, it's whenever you do certain things, like if you do a kick or you do a heavy arm punch, or if you do a jab underneath, it does like a little pan cutscene, like you just saw just then on Sparty's screen. It takes up quite a bit of timer, and because their phases are based on their HP bar, not really the amount of time that you're in. But you want to do the maximum amount of damage with minimal like cutscene interruptions as much as you can. But there are times where, yeah, sometimes you just have to let it slide. And now Sparty's entering in phase 3 of the Liquid fight. You know, with Silent just coming up behind him.
So, as I understand it, phase 3 is really the one that's pretty tough as far as this fight goes. Because you have to watch out for Ocelot's counter when he opens up his hands.
Yeah, because like once you get to phase 3, Ocelot gets better at the fighting where you're no longer just dealing with dodging his punches and countering. He now starts using CQC maneuvers. He'll often block more like you just saw with Sparty. And in addition, he can counter with either a headbutt, or often he'll just throw you to the ground for some CQC. But it looks like he's opting to do an interchange of Infinite with headbutts, which headbutting does do some significant damage when you get it off, but Infinite can be done, but in phase 3, it's really tough to do optimally. Okay, so now he's done with phase 3, now coming up to the final segment with Silent still coming up behind him.
Final phase here is pretty much just scripted. There really isn't much to do.
Yeah, I mean, it's just basically a set of, you know, blows at the start, and then you get 2 more punches to get him down, followed up with 3 final hits. And it looks like Silent is having quite a bit of struggle with trying to get him down. Yeah, because you can see he'll often duck, he'll block, he'll move out of the way. Okay, going up with an Infinite once again. Alright, so now he's just getting into the final segment with Sparty having 1 punch left. So,
in spite of the hard drive to SSD disparity, this was a very close race. Ultimately.
Absolutely. Okay, and there's the final punch for Sparty. So, I mean, like you said, this was really anybody's race, because there was back and forth for a bit, with a bit of a lead because of the loading, and look what they're at. I mean, this was a hell of a race. Alright, so while we watch Silent get that last few set of punches in, Sparty will just be skipping some cutscenes, along with more cutscenes, followed by some fake credits, and then some more cutscenes, followed by the real credits, and then, you know, presents the final scorecard. And here comes Final Punch. for Silent. All right, so again, a very, very nice job on both Sparty and Sergeant Silent. All right, so I think I would want to ask, like, if just during like the final credits, if that would be fine to get the runners in for just some Q&A. Like, is that how we're gonna do it with this one?
I think so. We got some time, so
Yeah,
that's
because like
something.
I'm not sure if we're gonna wait for like the final scorecard or whatnot.
I think we are interested, given that there was that load disparity, and just to amp up the build up.
Yeah, because I would like to see it.
Definitely there between acts. Like when you go from the mission briefing and stuff, I definitely gained like 10 to 15 seconds on him
Oh my god.
between those acts. His act. What was your act?
What's my act
Sarge?
for, Ren?
Yeah.
I was a 121 XX. You were
you were
125.
I think, what was I? Like a 125?
Yeah, your act 4 was 4 minutes behind. So it'll
Like-
be interesting.
It's just the thing with MGS4 is it's never consistent loads, even HDD or SSD, especially when you go between acts. You could really see it when you go into Act 2 mission briefing. Like sometimes you'll get that instant pop up where the mission brief happens on SSD. Like it'll just take.
Now, do you believe that like the version of the game could also contribute to that, Sparty?
I don't think so because I run the same version every run, and it just gives me different loads on different runs. Like it's never
And
given.
are you
consistent
running
loads.
on disk, or is it a like a
disk.
download version?
I'm on disk.
Okay.
I mean, I still have to say though that despite the like you said, the disparity between HDD and SSD, that this was a close race. I mean, just the the back and forth.
Yeah, I can't really say how close I was to him just because of the loading thing.
Yeah.
Like, maybe I'll actually look to see gameplay only and cut out all the mission briefings and actually see what the time was, because IGT, it says I'm 4 minutes behind. Correct? Like if I just take all the gameplay only, am I really 4 minutes behind?
IGT, yeah, it said you were 4 at the time. I mean, my final punch was at 148, because I was timing my run. So it depends what yours was if you were timing it.
I wasn't timing my run. I don't know.
But that was fun. GG, and thank you for the GGs, everyone. I have to admit, I was kind of nervous going into that.
Yeah, when
Yeah,
I saw a wolf come up, I was like, "Oh, I have no idea where she is. Maybe she's around this corner." It's like, "Nope." Maybe she's around this corner.
I got
I'm
the
like-
best wolf spawn. I was so happy.
I
like,
was
"Let me-"
about to say that wolf fight was a big differentiator to where this run is right now, given that, yeah, Silent had, like I just said to Plywood earlier, like that was probably the best wolf edge you're gonna get, given that you went to the right.
Mhm.
And for Sparty, it was probably like one of the worst ones you could get, given it was like, you might know where she is, but she could be in the furthest spot from where you start.
So
or-
the thing I didn't want to do is like reset that whole thing. I was like, I have to get her in this fight.
Mm-hmm.
It's just gonna put me back even further. So that was a good thing. And then the Rex versus Ray, I didn't get him.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah,
so I
was
had to
that?
chase around,
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
around like the whole map.
Now, do you feel like that was part of like trying to manipulate the Ray's position for the charged laser?
I was trying. Well, at the beginning, I was trying to manipulate the laser, but it didn't work. So then I was just free balling. Oh yeah, Sarge definitely won this race if we're just going consistent loads in this race.
I think it was really interesting because by Act 1, I noticed you were already ahead of me. You were 30 seconds, then you were a minute, and then 2, and then I look back after Ray because I hear Joe say something in the headset, like, and now he's ahead or something, and I look over and it's like, what? How? Your loads were so much faster than mine.
Just next time we do this on MGS4, like, there's got to be a consistency we got to hash out because no one has done this. Like, no one has really sat down and timed SSD, HDD, so we just kind of went in blind.
You are the first person to run this game on SDD, so this and your whatever other runs you submit are a prime candidate for examination.
So we definitely need to like get a consistent basis next time we do runs of MGS4. But
The only thing is, you'll have to either have runs on both New Game or New Game Plus, because you saw the document I made. New Game Plus had some loads that were 20 seconds slower and exclusive to New Game Plus.
The thing I'll say always about MGS4 is loads are never consistent.
I mean, yeah, I agree. It was
never consistent.
It was probably just a freak coincidence that the 2 New Game Plus had 48-second loads and the 2 New Games had 20-second loads.
Using the same exact hardware, you're gonna get like that disparity. But
yeah, PS3s are crazy. Like, I am willing to invest in an SSD. I probably should.
I think it's fair to say that SSDs, RTA-wise, load faster between acts. I think that happened during every single mission briefing. Like, my loads were just faster than yours. Now, I don't know about all the loads that are in between the acts, like all the gameplay.
Yeah.
Mission briefings are definitely faster, it seems.
Yeah. It is 100% worth timing, especially considering you said the other day you did a run and your RTA was like 8 minutes, and then I know your TBE was 6 minutes.
I did 2 runs the other day. I did 2 runs. One was on the Boss Extreme, one was on Big Boss Hard. The Boss Extreme, the difference of RTA, IGT was minutes. Then my Big Boss Hard run, the RTA difference to IGT was 8 minutes. Like, using the exact same hardware, disc, same PS3 model, everything.
So I guess what would you guys say is probably your highlight of the run if you had to pick one?
I'll let you go first, Sparty, since you finished first.
Say my highlight and my low light came into one. It was the wolf fight. Like, yeah, I didn't get the quick kill. It's just making up and kind of not having to take that reset, just taking what the game was giving me and somehow making something out of it. I think that's what I enjoyed the most about the run.
Yeah, and a no reset wolf is you hope.
Yeah, it's like you gotta say that little prayer for a good spawn. You know, I know the feeling.
And even then, sometimes you get a good spawn and something hits you, your grenade goes flying the wrong direction, weird things happen, and next thing you know, wolf's running you over, and you didn't even have anything to do with it.
Yeah, but where I was really scared for you, Sergeant, was on top deck trying to get to that door, and the gecko kind of just pushed you through it.
Yeah. I messed top deck up so bad. I twice that run I didn't push. So if anyone doesn't know, grenade throws are pressure sensitive in this game. Pressing R1 lightly causes you to underhand, and holding it causes you to overhand. So 2 times I underhanded, and I was like, this is gonna be an improv right now. Highlights, I'd say I'd agree. Wolf was by far a highlight. That was probably the most interesting part of that whole run. Lowlight, I missed a railgun shot on the easiest boss in the game. I can't believe I did that. I just sat there watching Octopus walk back around the wall, and I'm just like, well, if I get off this bed, she's gonna roll into me, so I'm just gonna sit here and wait.
But you know what? Even despite the difference in loading, the run was, I mean, in spirit, neck and neck. I mean, Act 1 was pretty smooth. Act 2, had its set of hiccups. Act 3, I mean, it was pretty identical. Yeah. I mean, except for, maybe the Raging Raven might have differed, but, it was pretty close.
Speaking of Act 3, did you get the Resistance Room 3 Sparty? Did you do
I got
your
both of
strat?
them. Yeah, both of them worked.
Do you use your strat or the new one that I tried?
It's mine and it worked.
Okay, I used the new strat and got it to work, but earlier I didn't, so I kind of whimmed it there. That's good to know.
We both got it to work.
Yeah, we both had
this-
optimal Act 3s, I think.
The one thing I
Okay.
have is learn the any percent better, especially when like you take down the beauty form. I still go with like the non-lethal and charge up. Something I gotta know when it's faster to get kills and when it's not.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. My Act 1 was undoubtedly slower than you, IGT. It was 30 minutes. I lost 30 seconds. I lost.
Yeah, it was
you.
about 30 seconds behind, I think, when I looked at it.
I typically have a really bad Act 1, so I think I need to figure out some way to work non-lethal in, but I was playing around with non-lethal frogs, and the best I got it was within 20 seconds.
You gonna say something, Plywood?
Yes, I have a question for Sergeant
it.
because there was I had a bit of a confusion. So
Yeah.
Joseph was saying for the Mantis fight that it's faster to press left and right instead of shaking the controller. And then in your notes it says killing Mantis requires 6-axis support on your DualShock 3.
I will be honest, I did not know you could push left and right.
Yeah, because like when you have control over in the Mantis doll form, instead of like the on-screen telling you to shake it up and down, I thought it was
Yeah.
either you or someone told me that says no, shake left and right, and it kills her in two
No,
shakes.
I
not three.
said shake left and right, but are you saying you can use the D-pad to move her left and right?
No.
Okay, because
No.
if you could use that, that would change everything. You
Oh,
wouldn't even need
absolutely.
a D-pad or a 6-axis. If
Yeah,
you have to shake, then yeah, you need a official DualShock 3 with 6-axis, or you literally cannot beat Mantis. Your game
Yeah,
is
I
essentially
apologize for
soft
that
locked.
confusion, but it's like what I was trying to point out was like for the longest time, I followed what the on-screen thing said to do was shake up and down, and then if you
Yeah.
shake left and right, it's one less action you have to do to kill her.
Yeah, the game wants you to like rotate like a barrel roll your controller, but if you just sit there and wave it in the air back and forth, it's faster and much easier on your hands, trust me.
Oh, so if you wave it, you're just waving goodbye to her. It's like bye bye.
Yeah, it's just bye. I'm gonna non-lethal you now because it's free.
I think for MGS4, one thing I'd like to see run, maybe in future, is have like a gentleman's agreement to go for rank 1.
Yeah,
That would change to go to rank 1 fights, even though you're not gonna get it because it is difficult to get it at the end. But just stick
Yeah.
with rank 1 strats, so no lethal.
I understand that. I think with MGS4, if you were racing me, because there's probably other people gonna come in, I would be willing to go no kills other than in auto scrollers. And like, actually no, I'd really to go no kills, but alerts I'm 100% not gonna get that. It's just it's
I'm not
so
saying you have
fun.
to get no alerts. It's just you have to try to not get alerts.
Yeah. Okay.
So when you guys say rank 1, do you mean like for big boss rank?
Well, it matters
Yeah.
which difficulty you play. So if you're playing the boss extreme, you're going for big boss. If you're playing big boss hard, you're going for foxhound. If you're
Oh, I
playing
gotcha.
anything else, like you're going for fox or hound or wolf, whatever the rank 1 is for that category,
Yeah.
that's what you're trying to do.
Well, I think really what needs to happen is the SSD equivalency more than
Yeah,
anything, because that
Definitely.
that was a sizable gap even in the very beginning.
I'll tell you
Yeah.
what. I'm accepting donations of SSDs. Shoot me an email. SSDs are
I'll send you away.
expensive.
Oh, you get one for like $20.
Nah, you're right. I should do that, and then I just have to transfer like everything over to my SSD.
You
But
know,
then again, my PS3 model is already inferior because it's the 320 gigabyte slim, so that in itself is going to be slower.
Need some
I
beer
was gonna
after this
ask you what
fight?
model you had because my PS3 Slim from 2011 is still kicking. Like original hard drive, original everything. I
Oh.
don't even know what model series it is, but it still works.
I just know mine's a 20 or I think it's a 2501B that I bought somewhat recently, like within the year, because it was the only slim they had, and I wanted to get a sizable amount of megabytes. I was willing to compromise there.
Hey everyone, I need some beer after this. I'm accepting donations.
Actually, I just looked just now on mine, and mine ends with a 2001A.
Okay,
That's what I have.
the 2001A is the 120 gigabyte one, I think.
Yeah, it's an old one, but it's still running.
It's good. It's good. It's worth keeping if you don't really need the space.
Yeah, as long as I don't destroy it.
To be fair, I have a 500 gigabyte super slim sitting over there that I used to run this game on. So that was fun. Super Slim's bad. Official statement from Sergeant Silent.
I mean, does it really run that much worse on Super Slim versus something like the 2001A?
Honest to God, MGS4 differences would be seconds. They would add up, but they'd be seconds. But some other games, like another game I run, Resistance 3, the Super Slim actually causes that game to soft lock at over 8 different locations simply because it can't optimize that game and load it correctly.
I mean,
Good
do you feel
job,
like
Sony.
do you feel like STD could rectify that for a Super Slim?
I don't know. I'd have to try it. I've never owned an SSD to test that on.
You're a beast. I know.
Come quick, the IGT's ready. Looks somewhat fast. Sort of like calling for the sun with a gun.
Sunlight.
I almost ran it.
59 flat.
Wow.
I almost ran into the crop
On the dot.
circle to shout out the MGS2. I was like, at this point, I don't care. I was just gonna do whatever. But
Oh,
instead,
you're just gonna meme it.
I just used sunlight wherever I could. That was good enough for me.
Oh, and I think everybody appreciated that.
I don't know if you had audio. I don't know if you had audio on me when I did it.
Oh, I
was just,
did.
Sunlight.
Oh, I mean, I
Different
especially
charges,
did, knowing this was New Game
1.
Plus.
55.
All right, I'm sorry, Sparty. I didn't mean to cut you off there.
Said, I'm guessing yours is a 155.
We'll see. I mean, real time, I'd be at a 155 roughly, yeah, based off of Liquid Punch estimate for my system, my loads.
And while this race is done RTA, we will have a total at the end of the complete IGT per team.
Speaking of the RTA, even though Sparty's loads were crazy, I mean, how much did Team Solid actually gain? About 25 seconds-ish? So it was still really close.
Well, if we're going by RTA,
Hey, that's a new world record, I think.
you get 155. Yep, nice.
155.
Wow.
Congrats.
Well done.
Thank you.
Is
I'll
that really
have
a
to-
world record?
I believe it is, because I got a 156 last night while practicing.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank you. I'm gonna have to highlight this VOD.
Yes, get all that sunlight in there.
And technically it's a PB for Sparty, so this run will be up twice.
Yep, it's my first Big Boss hard run done.
Yeah, you guys will be able to submit the sweet ol' tournament VOD. Well done.